I was told never to say Bloody Mary in the mirror. I just found out the horrifying reason why. The rule started when I was 5 years old. My grandmother sat me down in her bathroom, gripping my shoulders so tight it hurt, and made me promise I would never say those words in front of any mirror, anywhere, ever. Not as a joke, not on a dare, not even to prove it wasn't real. She said it with such intensity that I never questioned it. I just nodded and promised. Over the years, I watched my mom follow the same rule. She'd cover bathroom mirrors with towels when she showered. She'd turn away from reflective surfaces when speaking. At stores, she'd walk past the mirror section without looking. When I asked why, she'd just say, "Grandma knew best." My younger sister Emma didn't take it seriously. At her 13th birthday sleepover, her friends wanted to play Bloody Mary in the bathroom. Emma laughed it off and suggested Truth or Dare instead, but I saw her hand shaking when she closed the bathroom door later that night. I'm 24 now, and last week Grandma died. At her funeral, my Aunt Rachel pulled me aside and said we needed to talk about the mirrors. She looked terrified, her eyes constantly darting to the decorative mirror in the funeral home hallway. She said now that Grandma was gone, someone needed to know the truth. That night, Aunt Rachel came to my apartment with an old shoebox full of photographs. The first photo showed my grandmother at age 16, standing in front of a bathroom mirror, but there were two reflections of her in the glass, both facing forward, both staring directly at the camera. Rachel explained that in 1952, Grandma and her twin sister Margaret had played Bloody Mary together as a dare. They'd stood in front of Grandma's bedroom mirror at midnight, holding hands, and said the words 3 times. The mirror had rippled like water. Margaret's reflection had smiled, while Margaret herself started screaming. Margaret vanished that night. The police searched for weeks, but never found her. Grandma insisted Margaret had been pulled into the mirror, that she'd watched her sister's reflection reach through the glass and drag her inside. Nobody believed her. They thought Margaret ran away. But Grandma knew the truth because Margaret's reflection never left. For 70 years, Grandma saw her sister in every mirror, sometimes standing behind her, sometimes mimicking her movements 1 second too slow, sometimes mouthing words that Grandma couldn't hear. Rachel showed me more photos. Every single picture of Grandma near a mirror showed Margaret's reflection somewhere in the background, watching. Even in photos taken last month when Grandma was 86, I felt sick looking at them. Rachel said there was more I needed to know. The rule about never saying the words wasn't just superstition. Grandma believed that Margaret's reflection was waiting, that if any of us said those words, Margaret would finally have a way to reach through and take one of us in her place, that she'd been trapped for 70 years, and she was angry. I asked Rachel why she was telling me this now. Her hands were shaking as she pulled out one last photo, taken at Grandma's wake yesterday. I was in the photo, standing near Grandma's casket, but my reflection in the background wasn't looking at the casket. It was looking directly at the camera, and it was smiling. Rachel's voice dropped to a whisper. She said yesterday at the wake, Emma had gone to the bathroom. She'd been in there for almost 10 minutes. When she came out, she seemed fine, but Rachel had checked the bathroom and found something written in the condensation on the mirror. 3 words. "I'm coming home." I tried calling Emma immediately. No answer. I called my mom, who said Emma had been acting strange since the wake. She'd been standing in front of mirrors for long periods, just staring. When Mom asked what she was looking at, Emma said she was watching someone who looked just like her. I drove to my mom's house going 20 over the limit. When I got there, Emma was in the bathroom with the door locked. I could hear her talking to someone, but there was only one voice. I pounded on the door, screaming her name. My mom was right behind me, crying. The door finally opened. Emma stood there with wet hair like she'd just washed her face, but her eyes looked wrong, distant. When she smiled at me, it was 1 second too slow, and that's when I realized what I was really looking at in the mirror behind her. The rest of the story is on my channel or linked below. I stare at the mirror, my heart slamming against my ribs. The bathroom light flickers above us, casting shadows that make the scene even more nightmarish. Emma, my sister's body, stands in front of the mirror, but it's not her reflection looking back, it's me. I'm in the mirror, trapped behind the glass, and my body, my actual physical body, is standing in our bathroom with Emma inside it. Emma? Mom's voice breaks as she looks between the real me trapped in the reflection and the Emma-controlled version of me standing in our bathroom. What's happening? I pound my fists against the glass barrier, screaming words that no one can hear. The surface ripples slightly under my touch like disturbed water, but remains solid, impenetrable. Mom! Mom! It's me! I shout, but my voice doesn't carry beyond the mirror world. I can see and hear them perfectly, but they can only see me. Emma as me turns to our mother with a smile that's all wrong. It's my face, but the expression is pure Emma 1 beat too slow, the eyes not crinkling at the corners the way mine do. What are you talking about, Mom? I'm fine. Her voice comes out of my mouth, but the cadence is wrong, the pitch slightly higher than mine. Emma's just being dramatic again. Mom's eyes dart between her 2 daughters, one in flesh, one in reflection, her face paling as understanding begins to dawn. No, she whispers, backing away. This isn't happening. Not again. I bang harder on the glass, my palms stinging with the impact. That's when I notice I'm not alone in this mirror world. Standing just behind me, watching with silent amusement, is Emma's reflection. But her eyes are wrong too, older, calculating, patient. This isn't just Emma's reflection. There's something else in here with us. Mom, please, I mouth desperately, pressing my palm flat against the glass. It's me. I'm trapped. Mom shakes her head, tears streaming down her face. No, no, no. This isn't real. Mirrors don't. People don't. Emma as me steps forward, taking Mom's trembling hands. Mom, you're scaring me. Maybe you should lie down. Get away from her. I scream uselessly, pounding the glass until my hands hurt. The bathroom door swings open wider, and Aunt Rachel appears, her face ashen. She takes one look at the scene at Emma as me comforting our mother, at my desperate face in the mirror, and her expression hardens with grim recognition. I was afraid of this, she says quietly. Margaret finally found a way. Emma as me stiffens, turning to face Rachel with narrowed eyes. Aunt Rachel, what are you talking about? Mom's having some kind of breakdown. Rachel ignores her, moving to stand directly in front of the mirror. She places her palm against the glass, matching mine on the other side. outside. Can you hear me in there? She asks. I nod frantically, relief washing over me that someone believes what they're seeing. Rachel, stop this, Mom cries. You're making it worse. Rachel turns to my mother, her voice steady despite the fear in her eyes. Diane, that's not your daughter standing next to you. Margaret has been waiting for this for 70 years. She's been collecting souls, and now she sent Emma's reflection out in your daughter's body. Emma Esme laughs, the sound all wrong coming from my throat. This is insane. I'm going to call Dad. No! Rachel grabs her arm, stopping her from leaving. Margaret, I know it's you controlling this. Let her go. Mom collapses onto the closed toilet seat, her head in her hands. This isn't possible. People don't get trapped in mirrors. Your mother knew it was possible, Rachel says firmly. That's why she made them promise never to say those words. Margaret has been waiting, watching from the mirror world all these years. Inside the mirror, I feel a cold presence beside me. Emma's reflection, or what looks like Emma smiles at me with a knowing look that sends chills down my spine. She was vulnerable, Rachel continues, nodding toward Emma Esme. At the funeral, grief opened her up. She said the words, didn't she? Emma Esme's face hardens into an expression I've never seen on my own features before. You always were too clever for your own good, Rachel. The voice coming from my body changes, deepening slightly. It's still using my vocal cords, but the inflection is completely different, older, more formal, with a cadence from another time. Mom looks up, horror dawning on her face as she finally accepts what she's seeing. Margaret? Not exactly, Emma Esme says with a smile that doesn't reach her eyes. Emma said the words, and Margaret pulled her in, but I'm the one who came out. Rachel's eyes widen with understanding. The reflection. You're not Margaret at all. I press against the glass, desperate to communicate. If only I could write something, make them understand. I try to fog the glass with my breath, but nothing happens on this side. The physics here are different. Mom, I mouth desperately. It's me. Please believe me. Mom stares at my reflection, finally seeing the truth. Oh God, she whispers. My baby. Emma, as me or whoever is controlling my body, grabs Mom's wrist. Don't listen to the reflection. They'll say anything to escape. Margaret has been collecting souls for 70 years. She needs them. Rachel shakes her head. No, that's not how this works. Margaret didn't collect souls, she was trapped. But her reflection, that's who's been collecting. Inside the mirror world, the presence beside me shifts closer. I turn to see Emma's reflection, watching me with ancient eyes and a teenage face. Welcome to my collection, she mouths silently. And though no sound reaches me, I understand perfectly. I need to find a way back before this thing wearing my body ruins my life completely. I press my hand against the glass one more time, locking eyes with Rachel, silently pleading for help. Rachel nods almost imperceptibly. I'll find a way, she mouths back. And for the first time since seeing my own reflection staring back at me from outside the mirror, I feel a flicker of hope. Mom takes Emma Esme home, ignoring my desperate pounding against the glass. I watch as they walk out of the bathroom, my body moving with someone else's gait, Emma's subtle mannerisms bleeding through my physical form. Aunt Rachel gives the mirror one last, meaningful look before following them, her fingers brushing the surface as if to say, I'll be back, and then I'm alone, or so I think. They always look so pathetic at first, says a voice behind me. I whirl around to find Emma's reflection standing there, but her eyes hold decades of malice that my 16-year-old sister could never possess. She's examining her nails, Emma's nails, with casual disinterest. Who are you? I ask, my voice echoing strangely in this mirror dimension. What is this place? She smiles, the expression chilling on my sister's familiar face. I'm Margaret, or rather, what people thought was Margaret for the last 70 years. She gestures around us. Welcome to my collection. The mirror world expands beyond us, a silvery landscape that shifts and ripples like disturbed water. And I'm not alone with Margaret. Shadowy figures hover at the edges of my vision, some clear enough to make out features, others barely more than wisps of consciousness. Are those people? I whisper. What's left of them? Margaret says with a shrug. Most have been here so long they've forgotten who they were. The mirror realm isn't kind to the human mind. A woman in 1,950 seconds, clothing drifts closer, her eyes vacant, but somehow still terrified. I've been watching for so long, she murmurs. My children grew up without me. My husband remarried. No one could hear me screaming. Margaret waves her away impatiently. Boring. She's been saying the same thing for decades. I back away, bumping into what feels like glass behind me. When I turn, I see our bathroom through the mirror, now empty. I need to get home. My family. Your family is currently having a lovely dinner with your sister wearing your skin, Margaret says, examining her reflection in a floating shard of mirror. Well, not your sister exactly. Something a bit more interesting. I press my hands against the glass, trying to see beyond our bathroom. To my surprise, the view shifts, zooming through our house until I can see the dining room. Mom sits across from Emma Esme, her hands shaking as she pushes food around her plate. Aunt Rachel watches Emma Esme with narrowed, suspicious eyes. You can see through any reflective surface, Margaret explains, suddenly beside me. Windows, spoons, the gloss on a television screen, we're everywhere and nowhere. Emma Esme is eating with mechanical precision, cutting meat into perfect squares. This is delicious, Mother, she says in my voice, but the intonation is all wrong, formal, antiquated. You've always been such an accomplished cook. Mom flinches. I've never called her mother in my life. I need to warn them, I say, pressing harder against the glass. Margaret laughs. And how will you do that? They can see you, but they can't hear you. Even if they could, why would they believe the desperate pleas of a reflection? I turn to her, anger replacing fear. What do you want? Why are you doing this? Her smile fades. Freedom. Do you have any idea what it's like to be trapped for 70 years, watching life happen without you? To see your twin sister grow old, have a family, live the life that should have been yours? Your twin sister? I ask, remembering Aunt Rachel's words about the real Margaret, the one who trapped me here. She spits. She pulled me in and sent my reflection out. Everyone thought I was the one who disappeared that night, but it was her, the real Margaret. I've been her reflection all these years, watching, waiting. I look back at the dining room scene. Emma Esme is now rummaging through grandmother's old jewelry box that Mom brought down after the funeral. What is she looking for? I ask. Something specific. specific, Margaret says vaguely. Something your grandmother kept hidden. I watch as Emma as me grows increasingly frustrated, emptying the box completely. It's not here, she mutters. Where would she have hidden it? Mom looks confused. Hidden what, sweetheart? Emma as me composes herself quickly. Nothing important, just looking for that charm bracelet I always liked. I turn away from the scene, determined. I need to communicate with them somehow. Margaret shrugs. Good luck with that. I've been trying for 70 years. But an idea forms as I watch condensation forming on the bathroom mirror from someone's shower. I remember Emma's message. I'm coming home. Hours later, when Rachel enters her bathroom, I'm waiting. As steam fogs the mirror, I quickly drag my finger through it, writing, "Help me, not Emma, real me." Rachel gasps, her eyes widening as she watches the words appear. "You're really in there," she whispers. I nod frantically, writing more. "Cover mirrors." She watches. Rachel nods, understanding immediately. "I'll help you," she promises. "I'll find a way to get you out." Over the next 2 days, Rachel systematically covers every mirror in our house, telling Mom it's for spiritual protection after grandmother's death. Emma as me watches with growing agitation, my face twisting with rage when she thinks no one is looking. From my prison, I observe through any reflective surface I can find a spoon at breakfast, the black screen of a turned-off television, the glass of a picture frame. Emma as me becomes increasingly erratic, snapping at Mom, searching through grandmother's belongings with growing desperation. When Rachel covers the bathroom mirror with a dark cloth, Emma as me yanks it down violently. "Stop this," she shouts, her voice dropping to that older, colder tone. "You have no idea what you're interfering with." "I know exactly what I'm doing," Rachel says calmly, "and I know you're not my niece." Emma as me grabs Rachel's wrist, squeezing until Rachel winces. "You always were too clever for your own good," she hisses. "Just like your mother." "Let go of me," Rachel says evenly. "I need one more," Emma as me says, her grip tightening. "Just one more soul, and I'll have enough power to cross over completely. Your mother was supposed to be the third, but she was too careful. Never said the words, never looked in the mirror when she spoke of me." "Margaret," Rachel begins. "I'm not Margaret," Emma as me screams, her face contorting with rage. "Margaret is still trapped in there, with all the others. I'm what came out when she went in. In the mirror world, I feel Margaret beside me, watching the scene with intense focus. She's right, you know," she says quietly. "I need 3 souls to break free completely. Your sister was only the second. Who was the first?" I ask. Margaret's expression darkens. "My sister, the real Margaret, the one everyone thought disappeared that night in 1952. She looks at me with ancient eyes. "And you're about to witness my final collection." I pound against the glass, desperate to warn Rachel as Emma as me advances toward her, my sister's reflection, laughing silently beside me in this prison of endless mirrors. I wake to the sound of tapping, faint but persistent, like raindrops on glass. Opening my eyes, I find myself still in the mirror realm, silvery darkness stretching endlessly around me. The tapping continues, Rachel's fingernail against a compact mirror. She's sitting in her car outside our house, and through the small reflective surface, I can see her eyes are red-rimmed from lack of sleep. "I found something," she whispers, angling the compact so I can see what she's holding, a worn leather journal with my grandmother's initials embossed on the cover. "Your grandmother kept records, rules about the mirror realm." Hope surges through me. I press my hands against the mirror's surface, desperate to hear more. "The entity in the mirror isn't Margaret," Rachel continues, flipping through yellowed pages. "It's her twin's reflection. The real Margaret was pulled in first, back in 1952. What came out was something else." I nod frantically, pointing to myself and then behind me, where the fake Margaret Emma's reflection watches from a distance, pretending not to listen. "I'm going to try something tonight," Rachel whispers. "Your mother finally believes me. We're going to." The compact snaps shut as Emma as me yanks open the car door. "Talking to yourself, Aunt Rachel?" The voice coming from my body is chilling my vocal cords, but someone else's cadence. Or perhaps to someone else? Rachel tucks the journal into her bag, just checking my makeup. Emma as me smiles with my face, the expression all wrong. "Mother sent me to fetch you for dinner. She's quite concerned about your mental state." I pound against the glass, helpless to warn Rachel as she follows my body thief into the house. The mirror realm shifts around me, and suddenly I'm viewing the scene through the hallway mirror, watching as Emma as me leads Rachel inside. "I need to find a way to help them," I mutter, turning away from the scene. "You can't," says a voice behind me. I spin around to find the woman in 1,950 seconds clothing I'd seen earlier. "None of us can. We can only watch. There has to be something," I insist. "My aunt found my grandmother's journal. There must be rules, ways to communicate." The woman's eyes widen. "The journal? Eleanor kept a journal?" I stare at her. "You knew my grandmother?" Her laugh is hollow. "Knew her? I'm Margaret, the real Margaret. Eleanor was my twin sister." My heart nearly stops. "You're the real Margaret? But I thought, that thing out there wearing your sister's reflection?" She shakes her head. "That's my reflection, my dark side. She's been impersonating me for 70 years. I step closer, studying her face. There's a resemblance to the old photos Aunt Rachel showed us of the twins, but this Margaret hasn't aged a day since 1952. "What happened that night?" I ask. Margaret's eyes cloud with memory. "We were foolish girls, 16 years old, playing with forces we didn't understand. We said the words 3 times, looking into the mirror, but when something reached out, Eleanor pushed me forward instead of herself." Her voice breaks. "My own twin sacrificed me to save herself. But then, why did everyone think Margaret disappeared?" I ask, confused. "Because my reflection came out," she explains. "The mirror realm doesn't just trap you, it releases your reflection. A version of you without conscience, without soul. My reflection has been living my life, watching Eleanor grow old, waiting for revenge. And now she has Emma," I whisper. Margaret nods grimly. "And she's using your body to get to Rachel. She needs a third soul to complete her escape." I feel sick. "How do we stop her?" "The journal," Margaret says urgently. "If Eleanor documented what she learned, there might be a way. The mirror realm has rules." The scene shifts again, and I'm looking through the dining room window. Mom sits at the table with Emma as me and Rachel, tension thick in the air. "I made your favorite, sweetheart," Mom says, placing placing a plate of lasagna in front of Emma Esme. You hardly touched dinner last night. Emma Esme stares at the food with thinly veiled disgust. Thank you, mother. How thoughtful. Rachel watches closely, the journal hidden in her lap beneath the table. She catches my reflection in the window and gives an almost imperceptible nod. I was thinking about grandmother today, Emma Esme says suddenly, about the stories she used to tell us. Do you remember, mother? About the mirror games? Mom's fork clatters against her plate. We don't talk about those. But why not? Emma Esme leans forward. They're just silly childhood games. Bloody Mary, Mary Worth. What was that phrase grandmother mentioned? The one she and Margaret used to say? I bang against the glass frantically. She's trying to trick Mom into saying the words. Rachel stands abruptly. I need to use the bathroom. Now? Emma Esme asks sharply. Yes, now, Rachel says, clutching her bag with a journal. I race through the mirror realm, following Rachel's reflection as she hurries to the bathroom. Margaret appears beside me, both of us watching as Rachel locks the door and pulls out the journal. She's going to try something, Margaret whispers. Rachel flips through pages until she finds what she's looking for. She places her palm against the mirror and begins reciting words in a language I don't recognize. The mirror surface ripples violently. I feel a pulling sensation, like being caught in a current. She's opening a passage, Margaret gasps, but it won't last long without a replacement. The mirror's surface turns liquid, and suddenly Rachel's hand reaches through, grasping mine. With a violent tug, she pulls me forward, and for one dizzying moment, I'm half in the mirror world and half in the real one. I can't pull you all the way through, Rachel gasps, straining. The realm demands balance. Someone must take your place. Take me, Margaret says, appearing beside me. I've been here long enough, but before either of us can move, the bathroom door splinters open. Emma Esme stands in the doorway, my face contorted with rage. What have you done? She screams, lunging forward. Rachel tries to maintain her grip on me, but Emma Esme grabs her around the waist, yanking her backward. I feel myself being pulled back into the mirror as Rachel loses her hold. Mom, I scream, and this time for just a moment my voice carries through. Mom appears in the doorway, her eyes widening as she sees me half materialized in the mirror. Oh my God, she whispers. It really is you. Emma Esme has Rachel pinned against the wall. Say the words, she hisses in that ancient voice. Say them and join your niece. She's not your niece, Mom says suddenly, her voice stronger than I've heard it in days. That's not my daughter in there. What have you done with her? Emma Esme turns, momentarily distracted, and Rachel breaks free, shoving her away. It's the reflection, Rachel gasps. Margaret's reflection has been impersonating her for 70 years. The real Margaret is still trapped in the mirror realm. I feel myself slipping back, the temporary passage closing. Mom, Rachel, I love you. I manage before the surface solidifies again, trapping me once more behind glass. Emma Esme laughs, the sound chilling coming from my throat. How touching, but it changes nothing. I've waited 70 years for this moment. She turns to Mom and Rachel, my face twisted into a cruel smile. I need just one more soul to complete my collection. Then I'll be free to bring others across. An army of reflections, released into your world. Mom stands taller, placing herself between Emma Esme and Rachel. You will never have my family, she says, her voice steady despite her trembling hands. I don't know how, but we're going to get my daughters back. From my prison in the mirror, I press my hand against the glass, watching as the monster wearing my body advances toward the two people I love most in the world. But for the first time since this nightmare began, I see determination rather than fear in their eyes. They believe me now. They know I'm still here, and somehow we're going to find a way to bring me home. I can barely sleep that night, watching from a compact mirror as Rachel works feverishly at her kitchen table. Her hands move with precision, tracing symbols from grandmother's journal onto the edges of an antique mirror, one I recognize from grandmother's bedroom. The glass is cloudy with age, its ornate silver frame tarnished almost black. It has to be this one, Margaret whispers beside me in the mirror realm. Your grandmother kept it covered for 70 years. It's the original mirror that trapped me. Rachel mixes something in a small bowl, herbs, salt, what looks like crushed crystals, muttering words under her breath as she works. She's been at it for hours, her eyes bloodshot from exhaustion, but her movements never falter. Will this work? I ask Margaret, who watches with a mixture of hope and terror on her face. If anyone can do it, it's Eleanor's daughter, she says. Your aunt has her mother's strength. Mom appears in the doorway of Rachel's kitchen, carrying 2 mugs of coffee. She looks 10 years older than she did a week ago, dark circles under her eyes, her movements heavy with worry. Any progress? She asks, setting a mug beside Rachel. Rachel nods without looking up. Almost ready. The trap mirror is nearly complete. She points to a passage in grandmother's journal. Eleanor figured it out years ago, but never had the courage to try it. The mirror that originally trapped Margaret can be used to trap the evil twin if we can get her to look into it while saying the reversal words. And Emma and my daughter? Mom's voice breaks. Can we get them back? Rachel finally looks up, and even through the compact mirror, I can see the determination in her eyes. Yes, but we need to hurry. The full moon is tonight, and according to Eleanor's notes, that's when the evil twin will try to complete her ritual. I feel a cold presence behind me and turn to find Emma's reflection, the evil twin watching us with calculating eyes. They're clever, she says, her voice eerily calm, but not clever enough. I've waited 70 years for this night. What happens tonight? I demand, stepping between her and the view of Rachel's preparations. She smiles, using Emma's face in a way that makes my skin crawl. The completion of my collection. 3 souls, Margaret, your sister, and soon 1 more. With 3 souls trapped, I can cross over permanently and bring others with me. It won't work, I tell her, trying to sound more confident than I feel. My family knows what you are now. Do they? Her laugh is hollow. They're desperate, making mistakes, and your body is already mine to control. She drifts away, disappearing into the silvery depths of the mirror realm, leaving me with Margaret. She's going back to your house, Margaret says urgently. We need to warn them. I race through the mirror world, following the pull of reflective surfaces until I find myself looking through the hall mirror at home. Emma Esme is rummaging through grandmother's old bedroom, pulling books from shelves, upending drawers. Where is it? She mutters in that voice that that's mine but not mine. The old woman must have hidden it somewhere. I watch helplessly as she tears apart the room, finally stopping at the antique vanity. She runs her fingers along the edge of the mirror, smiling when she feels something. A small inscription, barely visible, etched into the wood, found